Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now this past week we have a few exciting news on two new COVID vaccines. They are from Johnson Johnson and Novavax. Now one of the viewer, Alethea, have already asked about Novavax a couple days ago, so this week we'll talk about these two mRNA alternative vaccines together. If you are new to the channel, I'm Dr. Han. My goals for this channel is to connect scientific facts with everyone. This includes my regular COVID-19 update and other general science topics. My idea is that if I can understand a topic, you can understand. Now if you want to know more on these scientific facts, please consider subscribing to the channel. This channel needs your support to reach more people. Now without further ado, let's go into the topic. So like I said at the beginning, we are going to look at two upcoming alternatives to mRNA vaccine. Now again, this video is my interpretations and summary of publicly available scientific information. This video does not serve as any advice on treatment, diagnosis, and prevention of any diseases, and all the company that I mentioned in my video, I do not have affiliations with them. First, let's look at some of the background information on Johnson & Johnson. Now, they have already completed their phase 3 trials and released a lot of data on their press release website on January 29th and have already submitted the EUA application to the US FDA on February 4th. In terms of Novavax, they have completed their phase 3 trial in the UK and released a lot of data on January 28th. Now, however, their North America trial are still ongoing, and the company have submitted a rolling application to the UK MHRA. Now in this video, we are going to look at how the technologies compared and how does Novavax vaccine work. How do the efficacy compared, and the pros and cons of the Johnson Johnson vaccine, and as well as the pros and cons of the Novavax vaccine. Fact number 1, how do the technology compares? Now, first let's look at Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson relied on the adenoviral or adenovirus vector technology. Now they have a proprietary name for it, which is called the AdVac technology. In terms of Novavax, they use recombinant protein nanoparticles, and in combination with something called saponin-based technology to produce their vaccines. They have a proprietary name for that saponin-based technology, which is called the Matrix M adjuvant technology. Now, in terms of the spike protein productions, for Johnson & Johnson, the spike protein gene is transferred and cloned into adenoviral vector, and on the Novavax side, the spike protein is purified to form multi-protein nanoparticles. Now, the protein that from Johnson & Johnson is produced by the recipient's cells. However, the spike protein from Novavax vaccines is produced in manufacturing facilities. Fact number 2, how does the Novavax vaccine work? Now we're going to briefly look at how does the Novavax vaccine work. First, the spike proteins are basically engineered and purified in the lab. They make sure the protein is folded and correctly oriented like the real spike protein. Then these proteins are assembled into something called protein nanoparticles. They make sure these assemblies form a size that are similar to the real coronavirus. After that, they mix that protein nanoparticles with their proprietary technology Matrix M's, which is saponin based, which is coming from a plant basically. Now these adjuvants have an ability to increase immune cells activations. So when these things are mixed with the protein nanoparticle, basically we produce a stronger immune response than just purely giving the spike protein. Now let's look at how do the vaccines compare to each other in terms of their efficacies. So let's first look at Johnson & Johnson. They've completed their worldwide phase 3 trial, and they've enrolled more than 43,000 participants, and out of all these, 468 of those have symptomatic cases of COVID-19. Now they concluded it was about 66 overall effectiveness in preventing moderate to severe COVID-19 after 28 days of vaccinations, and the protection starts as early as day 14. Now they do have quite a variety of effectiveness in different regions. In the United States, the effectiveness is 72%, and comparing to 66% in Latin America and 57% in South America. Now, in terms of Novavax, their phase 3 trial is still ongoing in North America, that means the US and Mexico. Their goal is to enroll 30,000 participants. So far, about half of those have already enrolled. They have completed their phase 3 in UK with 15,000 participants and have a effectiveness close to 90%. They also completed a smaller scale of phase 3 in South Africa with 4,440 participants, and out of those, 60% effectiveness was observed in HIV-negative participants, while 49% effectiveness was observed in the overall both HIV-positive and HIV-negative participants. Now let's look at the pros and cons of Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Now let's look at the pros of the Johnson Johnson vaccine first. Now the big plus of this vaccine is it only requires single dose to have those effectiveness. Now they are also right now looking at 2-dose regimens, see if 2 doses will boost the effectiveness. This vaccine is stable at a freezer for 2 years and a regular refrigerator for at least 3 months, so it makes it easier to store and transport in many parts of the world. It showed protectiveness against South Africa mutated virus, the 501Y.V2 strain, which is a very, very important note. Now, it is currently under review by the FDA, will likely be discussed at their meeting on February 26, and it could expect an approval in the US as early as in early March. Now, the cons of these adenoviral vectors are pretty universal. These vectors are immunogenic by nature. Remember, they were viruses that could cause common cold, but they would get engineered to put in a piece of coronavirus spike protein gene. So the vector itself can cause inflammations, and it is also less effective in people with pre-existing immunity against adenoviruses. Now let's look at the pros and cons of the Novavax vaccine. Now first look at the pros of the Novavax vaccines. The big plus is that it is a more traditional type of protein-based vaccine. Now, protein-based vaccines have been used in many types of vaccines for decades, so it is a more established concept in the vaccine technology. It also doesn't require the recipient to produce the spike protein within their body, and the protein production process is very standardized in the manufacturing facility. It also only requires standard refrigerations and show protectiveness against South Africa mutated virus. Now, this saponin-based matrix M technology is very interesting. It actually can help boost and stimulate immune responses, and this in terms translating to requiring less spike protein in the production process, and in terms leading to higher manufacturing capacity. In terms of the cons for all protein-based vaccines is that it requires much more time to develop at the beginning in general, and this vaccine may not be widely available in the world until later in 2021. Now, protein-based vaccine also in general has weak stimulations in cytotoxic T cell, which is another branch of the adaptive immune systems that can help kill those viral infected cells. Now, however, this saponin-based adjuvant is the key to help boost immunity, in particular, help boosting the T cell immunity. So this technology is so important, very important in this vaccine. So what are the take-home message today? So now we have 2 more upcoming mRNA alternative COVID vaccines, and the first one here is from Johnson Johnson using adenovirus vector. It is now pending for US FDA review and approval. And on the other side of the story, we have Novavax, which is a protein saponin-based vaccine. It's also pending for UK MHRA review and approval. Now, both vaccines have shown effectiveness against the South African mutated coronavirus, which is very, very important these days because we know that this virus have mutated part in the spike protein that make other vaccines that are currently in market much less effective. Now, all of these information that I got today is based on the company's press releases. So we will have to review the peer-reviewed published data when it's available to confirm all the claims by the companies. So to learn more, here are the links for all of the press releases, data, and technology that I look up on the manufacturing website. Now these links will also be in the description box down below, and you can review them at your leisure time. So I hope this week's video is able to provide a summary on the upcoming Johnson Johnson and Novavax vaccine. Now that is all for this week's COVID-19 update, and I'll see you again next Sunday at 7 p.m. And meanwhile, please stay safe and healthy. Bye.